Well, welcome to the Magic Tavern. I am your host, the inevitable BDC. We are still working toward this project that we've been working on all year because I've wanted to take my time with it. I've done a lot of DMing in my time, done a lot of crazy games that I've just jumped into, and the story tells itself. Yes, yes, it always does. And there'll be things that happen during the game that I cannot anticipate, I'm sure. But I want to get as prepared as I can get for this instead of letting the story take me where it goes. I want to do a little preparation this time. Well, I do preparation, don't get me wrong. I do plenty of preparation. Boy, I've read so much, so much. And I do on most of the games because I try to pull out things from the lore that you don't get in the books now, today at least. You have to dig back a few editions ago. But this game, we wanted to start out with, at the very beginning, no idea what we were going to do. The first thing we decided was we're going to play in Forgotten Realms. We hadn't done that for, like I said in the intro, uh, maybe 20 years, close to 20 years at least. I think Steps was fresh out of high school. No. Maybe it was before that. Maybe it's more. Maybe it was over 20 years ago. But I remember the last time we played in Forgotten Realms, we played Step Story with his character that we never finished the arc on. I'd love to write that story someday. And everyone's played in Forgotten Realms. I'm sure Hawkhead has too in the past somewhere down the road. I mean, it's kind of hard to get away. Hold on just a second. Yeah. Sorry about that. We're still working on the backdrop here. As you can tell, it's quite a crazy calliope of mess. Trying not to get too grounded because for the end of the year, I'm going to be moving into something a little more permanent. And then we'll talk about having a beautiful backdrop. Uh, right now, it is what it is. It's where I do most of my work and my digging. But anyway, like I said, we decided we were going to go back to Faerun. That was the only thing that we had decided. I wonder if I should hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, I'll try to work on that later. So we're returning to Faerun. That was our decision right off the bat. It was the only thing that, and only one other thing that we decided were the rules to what we were. And the other rule was we weren't going to start out with an apocalyptic future, basically on top of them. D&D is fraught with things like that, and there'll be some things along that theme, but I don't think it's going to be as crazy as my homebrew world. When is it ever, right? So we got, of course, Panda and Steps on board. Hawk had jumped on immediately. We got Lexi on board. We did have Yo Dude and the Queen. That didn't work out. but they had already started adding to the story. That's the funny thing about it. And part of what they kind of interjected will be a part of the story anyway. It won't be their characters, but it'll be a shadow of that. Now, so last week we talked to Halkett. This week we intend to talk to Lexi about her character, Eileen. Let me double check here.
Do you have a camera on?
Yes.
Here. Over here.
Yep. Up, down, up, down.
Oh, look behind you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, goodness. There you
So that will go off anyway.
go. There's Dean Law.
Yeah, we're organized and professional here.
That's never going to happen.
We're just plain folk who are super hyper nerds. We love D&D. We suck at magic. Not really.
You suck at magic.
I suck at magic. Yeah. I've decided I'm never going to be in Mythic on Arena. But anyway, that's a totally different subject.
Mythic's for nerds.
Yeah, I don't have the time for it. I can't. The grind's just too much for me. It bores me to tears.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I guess I can wait and talk about something else while we wait for Lexi to possibly jump in. We tried last week and didn't quite work out. But Steps assured me that this week would be a good week. Let me... Is that... Yeah, that's a lot of stuff on the... Excuse me. I'm sending a note to Steps, letting him know that we're ready. And he can jump on whenever he wants. Or she can. I'll just let him know I am on. Anyway, I'll just leave that like that. We will talk. That's one of the backgrounds that I've gotten. What you're seeing behind me is one of the wallpapers that I pulled up as a part of backdrops. I also have this picture when I talked to Lexi about Eileen, because she is going to be an Earth Genasi, and she will be a Warlock patron of the Genie, the Dao more specifically. Boo. But anyway, we'll get into that here in a little bit. Let's see. Oh, so much. It's blinded. She blinded me with science. That's not even the one. That's something else I was studying. We basically got lots going on here. We've got the Dao and the Genie Inn, the Genasis. We have giants and runes. We have artificers and amethyst dragons.
Weird fucking magic.
And weird, lot of weird stuff. All right, he's letting her know.
A lot of unlikely bedfellows in this one.
Well, it's going to be a crazy mess. Isn't it always, right?
Yep.
No, it's going to be fun. I think you're going to love. This is my character for a different game. Sorry. Okay, we'll just put this back over here for now. Boop. We studied. Yeah, I love digging into the past of D&D. Period. Not Faerun. Faerun's been quite the task. We thought, oh, ready-made campaign setting, it'll be a lot easier, and I don't think it really was all that much easier. There's so much that's been written about, and of course, if we said, okay, everything has been written about Faerun in 5e, which is almost nothing. They do have the Sword Coast book. That's about it. which covers a lot of the areas that even we will be covering. If you've been following us, you know that we're starting in Coromir, in the town of Prosker, which is along the caravan routes from, oddly enough, from Waterdeep all the way north of Coromir, Coromanther and the Dell Lands, and up to Hillsfar. There we go, on the Moon Sea. It's a very long caravan route. Look at something right here. Was it a dotted? There's Suzel and Marcimbra. Maybe they have to go through. There's a possibility of them end up in a adventure over here, and looks like either they go around or they actually go right through Suzel. Anyway, Prosker is the place. I gave them some choices. You know, I started naming off places, and for some reason, Prosker is what they picked. There's not a map for Prosker, but, I wonder if I can. Game Studios, Game of it, no. Oh, I can't remember. I hadn't been over there enough. I think it's Arcane. That's ridiculous. I should have it in my... bookmarks. Do I not have it any more than that? That's why it's all that's up there. Oops, no, Arkansas. I'll pull this over here. You can look at Ronanda. Ron. My elven sword song. Song sword. Boy, I tell you, I have a hard time remembering that. What is it? It's R. Man, I just have a hard time remembering this because I haven't been there in a week or two. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. Now I can't find my own map maker. So much trouble. I'll have to do this later. For some reason, I can't find my own map system. I should have, well, I may have it right here. Got all sorts of other funky stuff. Dungeon Alchemist, which I haven't done anything with yet. But of course, I don't have one for the one I've been doing the work on. I'm telling you. It's just an interesting life I lead. Besides the warlock we're going to talk about today, we've also got a fighter who may segue into barbarian, Jono, who was once in a merchant family of On, which makes things interesting because Lexi's character Eileen is also a member of merchant family, current member of the merchant family in Waterdeep. We have Halman, who is a descendant of the Iron House, which, if you know anything about Forgotten Realms history, the Iron House is pretty important in the Western Heartlands. But he's just one of the many splinter families from that. And then we have the elf. Not this elf, but the elf. We can look at that because we're going to make a elf rogue. And, oh, I know what it is. It's incarnate. I'm losing my mind. Incarnate. I think I got it. Hang on a second. Maybe I can show you some of the maps I'm working on. Boom. Just use it. Oh, Facebook. Okay. All right. All right. There we go. Yay. Okay. Like I said, Prosper wasn't mapped out, but it intrigued. It was what we picked, and it intrigued the hell out of me. To tell you the truth. Pull this over here and just kind of show you kind of what I'm working with. It's a two-part city. This is Old Town. This is actual Prosper, as it's been for a while. It's a pretty decent sized city, but it's starting to blow up. And of course, a lot of this open area will probably be taken up with things. I'm not 100% sure what, but we're going to work on it. I'm not sure what that's doing over there. It's probably something waiting to be shoved in here. But right now, this is Old Town. But since to actually service the caravans that come through, which is basically most of what this town does. Prosper is a caravan town, and they built a whole nother town as bigger to service the caravans. They got the stables, the horse master's office is here, stable masters and furriers guild is here because they deal with a lot of horses. This area trades in a lot of horses. The Thousand Head Coster has its own building up here. It's their headquarters. Not really their main headquarters, but their headquarters here in Prosper. And all the cool things that they're adding on to make it presentable, like an actual civilization. Still a lot of work to do on that, but this gives you an idea. There are videos. If you can go back and look at the videos where we built Prosper Caravan Town, of course, was discussed. The merchant area down south, the old merchants, with that big building there is the Than Enclave, where they do a brisk business in magic and magic items. Then the residential areas, from the upper crust to the middle class to the lower class. This is the temple district. There are two temples, two temples and a few shrines. So we'll check and make sure I'm not missing anything. I haven't heard anything yet. And of course their civic district, and of course this is where the merchants area is down here. This is the artisans area where they make things. That's one of them. It's one of the maps I made, kind of in general. Still working on. Also got, of course, the artisan district, the civic district, temple district, and the market district all mapped up. And as you see, labels on everything. The Temple of Tempest, Temple of Mask, which is one of the few places that has an actual Temple of Mask out in the open, because if you know anything about Prosper, you may not. It has a heavy history in its own Thieves Guild. Openly, the Thieves Guild ran Prosper. But things have changed. That's the other thing we decided, or I decided. Instead of running things along the later 1400 DRs, like most of the campaigns, Storm King's Thunder, Icewind Dale, that kind of thing, I found a name of a year that caught my fancy. It's the year of the glowing onyx. It was the only one I saw in the future that had anything to do with gems. And so I picked that to be our starting year. So 1507 will be our starting year. That's the other thing that we decided. So we're in Faerun in 1507, which puts us at about 17 or 18 years after Icewind Dale, Storm King's Thunder, that kind of thing. Down the road, current time in the adventures, Cormyr was just coming out of a long war, a long series of wars. Well, now they've had about 10 to 20 years of peace and have expanded. Prosker's become a part of Cormyr. Is there anything else? That's all I got right there. Was just Prosker mainly is what I've done. But I wanted to show you that. Here. Get the map back over here. We'll at least have that in here. So we have to look at Ron's face. Cormyr expanded south of the Dragonmere, which the Dragonmere is this nice outlet here. They expanded south of this boot all the way across, just short of Red Dancer. That's an interesting name. Redwater, and really putting the screws down on Westgate. I'm sure they'd love to annex this whole area, which would bring them into conflict with the Shining Plains. Also, heavy horse trading there. I did extensive research, horse trading in Faerun. Yes, there is plenty. If you have any questions, ask me. We will at you. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I mentioned the characters already. I didn't mention Step's character is the only one who's not from Faerun. He is an Alan from Strixhaven who has accidentally been dropped into this situation, who's basically an archaeologist like all good Lorehold students are, and now finds himself studying both the past and the future, and having himself in the mix, and what that will ensue, and if that's going to cause any problems in the timeline, right? Because he doesn't belong here, but he's not from here, so he's not like crossing the beams or anything. But he'll probably be crossing the beams, right? But I really look forward to getting with these guys, because we talked to Halkid last week. If you missed that video, go back and look at that last Tuesday night's video. Talking about Halkid's character Halman. Halman's Iron Collar. Like I said, I have determined that he is from the Iron House. I did my research all this week. And the Iron House is a dwarven kingdom, really. Ancient dwarven kingdom that went as far as the northern part of the Desert Mouth Mountains. This mines of Tethiamar, that was a part of it. So as far north as this, as far south as the Sunset Mountains. Can I get over here to show it? The Sunset Mountains, Stormhorns, both the eastern and just the Stormhorns, and the Thunder Peaks were all a part of the Iron House. And the Iron Collars are one of those families that are left, because as things happen, kingdoms fall. If you're under the ground, you're bound to run into conflict with Underdark creatures. And now, I need to talk to him about this. Most of the Iron House are displaced. There's a whole mess of dwarfs down here in the Sunset Mountains still. In fact, Fort Helm is their face, and they do a lot of business with Prosker and Easting down here. Which, if you can see the dwarven hornhead guy, excuse me, that means that it's a dwarven mainly settlement. Once again, we talked last week. I don't know why this was not right here and Prosker down here, or why Prosker is not an actual dwarven settlement, because it's right on top of our Fort Helm. But who might I ask? So I'll be coming into a Cormyr that's been at peace for 10 to 20 years. They've moved their navy from Marsember to Suzal, to the capital. And they're starting to get more and more active in the Dragonmere here because they want to make sure no shenanigans right here, right? Now, that brings them into a little bit of conflict with Westgate and maybe a little bit with Symbia. And of course, they just got a war with Symbia. And that's Honorok, but the floating city guys, that's over. So Coromir's at peace with its neighbors. Things couldn't be better, right? They're trying to watch the influx and outgo of goods out of the Dragonmere. Like I said, I think that if I were to be honest, down the road, this area is going to be in heavy conflict, especially Westgate. Westgate's always been a burr in their saddle because Westgate is basically what Prosper used to be, only worse. It's a big city full of thieves and cutthroats and nasty things. Last time we were there, it was 3rd edition, and there were vampires infesting the place. That was our game. So I'm sure this area is going to come into conflict. There's going to be a lot of talk about it, I'm sure. There's a whole group of the families that want to keep pushing south. Like I said, if they can push south, maybe there's not a lot going on right here. Not a lot at all. Areabor is not going to become, they're not going to be able to annex that. Areabor is too big. But this area, no one would blame them for cleaning this mess out and making it part of New Coromir. Don't put it past me. Because we're going to set this thing in motion and then just see where it goes. And Coromir is definitely talking about that. Whether they can convince the Queen to push south or to keep centralized. When there's nowhere to push north, they don't really want to push into there because this is just wasteland now. But down here, this would be a good place to have. Thinking business, thinking kingdoms and whatnot. So, there's our setting. Cast of characters. And they've already started throwing so many ideas at me that the story's almost going to write itself. It is going to be a very continent-wide event. We're going to be visiting different places. Definitely going to Waterdeep once. Got to go to there's a lot of with the Alan being an archaeologist, a lot of his expertise is in that. It's all he's been. He's been in school studying archaeology, so he's not been like a combatant. He's going to learn. He's going to protect himself, right? He's really exposed here in this world, and hopefully this group can mesh before he gets himself killed. But there are a lot of ruins that they will be, a lot of ruins that they will be visiting. This is good. Utilize his ability and the skills of the others, and following a conspiracy that not only encompasses Coromir, but the rest of Faerun. No Lexi yet. Don't know if I'm missing anything. Don't know if I'm missing anything. I hope Steps is helping her figure out. One thing that I have done, and I haven't done any work on it yet, is a username. I gotta create a username. I need to do that. I've created a page for Uncut Gems. It's the only name we have for it right now. Once again, we pick a name that's connected to something else. But in this day and age, how can you not? There's so many things going on. So this is not the Adam Sandler movie. It is our D&D game, Uncut Gems. because they're heavily involved in the Earth and Gems. Good, excuse me. Dwarfs. Jono is an actual gem cutter, and Eileen, her family, is heavy into the mining business. So can't help but be dealing with this. What I call it, Uncut Gems. Let's look at our elf. There's an NPC besides everybody I've mentioned. Like I said, Yodu was going to jump in and play an Elf Rogue info broker, and even though he's had to back out, I am going to continue to play an Elf Rogue in the group because they don't have a rogue and they could use one. So until I feel comfortable with cutting them loose, or that character gets himself killed, that character's going to be following him, a part of the story. We're going to be opening things up in August with video openings, introducing characters, not video, audio. We're going to be playing on D20 and streaming. And then we're going to be creating a podcast out of that for those who don't have the time to watch us play on D20. Cannot wait. There's so much in Faerun, so much that I'm like, nope, can't, never get to that. Never get. That's cool. Every time I read a book, I read so many of these old books from 3rd edition or 2nd edition even. I have actually read some in 1st edition. And it's just so much information, so many cool things and hooks. I have to tell myself to drop it and move on because I don't have time for all of them. But our rogue, Elven Rogue, he's been around a while. Let's go to our source books. No, that's Treasure Dragon magazines. We got a 5th edition. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull this one up. It goes over there, of course. We'll go ahead and pull it over here. Well, Elf, of course. It comes with a lot of fun stuff. So we'll go to Elf first. It'll take that long for me to roll down to it. Choose a race. Okay. Dwarf, and then... No, we're not there yet. There's Dwarf, and then... Elf. That's actually Drizzt Jordan. Probably saying that wrong. Forgive me. All right. He is a high elf. Taking that cue from Yo Dude. All right. Look out here. Start working on it. Oh, my pen. Someone took my pen, my pen. If you watch Kids in the Hall, you get it. It's been a while. And I've moved. Oh, there it is, sitting right in front of me. All right. Elf traits, of course, he gets +2 to Dex. I'm going to go with, well, the +2 to Dex will help me with him as a rogue, so I'm not going to back off that. His age, of course. He's pretty old. He's been around a while. He's probably on the older end, maybe 500. Maybe he's finally coming around to his dreams where he starts seeing other lives he's lived. Speed, of course, is 30. Dark vision 60. Keen Senses. So he gets proficiency in the perception skill. That's good. Fate Ancestry, of course. Advantage on saves. I should know this because I'm playing a high elf in the other game with Steps with my grandkids. Nothing like playing D&D with your grandkids, by the way. Pass it on. Advantage on saves, being charmed. And cannot be put to sleep magically. Okay. All right, not done yet. The trance thing I'm getting used to. Instead, they don't sleep. Instead, they meditate deeply, remaining subconscious for 4 hours a day. Is a trance. While meditating, you can dream after a fashion. Such dreams are actually mental exercises that have become reflective through the years of practice. After resting in this way, you gain the same benefit. So you only need 4 hours to actually, quote unquote, rest or sleep. Languages. Excuse me. I'll just write down trance because I first know that. 4 hours. Languages. Everybody gets common. Of course, I get Elvish. It's always good to have somebody who can speak or read Elvish. All right. Now, like I said, the boy's a high elf. The word high is going with the +1 intelligence. Proficiency. Long sword. Short sword. Short bow. And a long bow. So you got proficiency in that also. Cantrip. You know one cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list. Okay. So I get a free cantrip. Intelligence, but that's go figure. So like a wizard. I'm gonna get an extra language. Now, I'm trying to think what other language sorry, I almost made him a drow. Hard because this is a human-centric civilization. Bottom line. So knowing common gets you a long way. She's offline. Oh, she's going to use her old account. She probably just should use the Magic Tavern. Anyway, so that's all this cool stuff that I get. Like I said, I almost made him a drow, but I don't think I will. On top of that, oh, I forgot to mention, Jono, Panda's character, is a halfling. So we have a halfling, a dwarf, a genasi, an Allen, not a tiny one. He's a medium-sized Allen, and we have a full elf. So we've got quite a menagerie. So let's look at. We go to the rogue. Boop. All right, here we go. All right. It's a hell of a feeling. We're going to. The other thing we decided, we're going to start at 3rd level where everyone will have their archetype in place. Which begs the question. I don't think I want him to be assassin or thief or arcane trickster. So I guess that knocks all those off. Um, where is the mastermind? Let's do this. Rogue archetypes. Wikidot's pretty good at breaking things down for you. Okay, it's got the whole setup here. It's like it did in the book that you saw a minute ago. That'd be one off an ability score improvement too. Oh, here we go. Inquisitive. That's probably the one I need. So we need to go to Xanathars. Really? Oh. Go into Xanathar's guide. To everything. Alrighty. I'll make these big because the old man can't see. Alright, let's look at the table of contents. Rogues, Inquisitive, and Mastermind are in here, so we'll go look at both of them. I think the Inquisitive is probably going to be his deal. Going to be his jam. What is that? Oh, Mastermind. Oh, Mastermind might be it because I think the Mastermind has a lot to do with being able to jump between, you know, disguises. Hang on just a second. Oh. Okay, we'll listen to something right now. Spot check. You know, disguises. Okay, yeah, the sound check's going well. So, let's look at Inquisitive. As an archetype Inquisitive, you excel at rooting out secrets and unraveling mysteries. That speaks to him too. You rely on a sharp eye for detail. They're going to need that sharp eye. Although, this is a very smart group. Okay. Let me see. Mastermind. Your focus is on people, the influence and secrets they have. Many spies, couriers, schemers follow this archetype. Okay. Let's look at what Inquisitive gives them, and we'll look at what Mastermind gives them, and just flip a coin on it. Oops. That isn't it. Sorry. Okay, Inquisitive. He gets quite a bit on third. Master of Intrigue, Master of Tactics, and this he gets like almost 3 things. But let's see. The Ear for Deceit. When you choose archetype 3rd level, you develop a talent for picking out lies. Whenever you make a Wisdom Insight check to determine whether a creature is lying, treat the roll of 7 or lower as an 8. So you can't roll under an 8. Those are always wonderful abilities. Eye for detail. You can use a bonus action to make a Wisdom Perception check to spot a hidden creature or object, to make an Intelligence check to uncover or decipher clues. So, you can use a bonus action to make a Wisdom check, Perception check, to spot hidden creatures or objects. So that's always fun, because it's like, you think it's like you walk in the room, okay, I want to look for hidden objects. It's more than likely in the hands of the DM. The DM knows there's something hidden, something he hasn't picked up. He gets to roll, let's take a bonus action. Now that helps a great deal in combat. Start talking bonus actions, of course, it's talking combat. So if you have another rogue fighting you who keeps disappearing, you use a bonus action to try to weed him out. That's exactly what that means. And, of course, intelligence check. Insightful fighting is the third thing it gets at third level. You gain the ability to decipher an opponent's tactics. Develop a counter. There's a bonus action. Once again, bonus action. Make a wisdom insight check against a creature you can see that isn't incapacitated, contested by a target's charisma deception check. If you succeed, you can use your sneak attack against the target even if you don't have advantage. Wow, nice. But not if you have disadvantage on it. So if it lasts for 1 minute or until you successfully use the feature. Oh, hang on a second. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, hello.
Give me just a second.
No problem. I got to make sure we're being heard.
Anything at all. Computer's up all the way.
That's
Go ahead and say something real quick.
hello.
It's on the headset.
I say
I'm not used to being on the computer. I got a little bitty tablet. Everybody else got something fancy.
fancy, loud, obnoxious. But anyway,
Mm.
see what we got here. There, here. Let me see. That's,
Go ahead and say something real quick.
yeah, I can hear you. I just want to hear the actual YouTube going. All right, I don't know why that's doing up. We were just going over something else, just kind of killing time. Something I had to do anyway. There's going to be, you already know about Steps Alan. You know about Jono's halfling and Halkid's dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Oh, that there'll be a fifth member of the group because I figured you guys might be able to use a rogue. Even though Yo Dude can't do it, I'm probably going to go ahead and build an NPC to hang with you guys for a little bit at least, see how it goes.
Just so I'm curious, real quick, are we streaming live or are we just talking?
We're streaming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We did this last week at Hawk. We just kind of pulled him in, just kind of chatted about it. Nothing super formal, but we ask a lot of questions and get some answers maybe. All right, let me put this away. I've had so much stuff out. All right. Come on, Eileen. Is that Eileen? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, Eileen. Aileen. I was really more interested in the meaning of the name, which was in very, very old language. Well, I almost want to say it was Aramaic.
Could be.
Aileen means quarry.
Huh. Yeah, I saw that on what you sent me. It says quarry next to it, and I wondered if that's what that meant. Which means you can, to tell you the truth, it's your character. It's high fantasy. You can pronounce it any way you want. I just need to know. You want to think about it, that's fine too.
Yeah, it don't matter. I guess Aileen.
Aileen?
Yeah, Aileen.
All right. No problem. I'll read what you have here. Found as a child by the Gontill family of Waterdeep during a mining expedition into the spine of the world mountains. She is taken in due to the absolute rarity of her appearance. Can you describe what your character looks like?
Yes, she is. She's got black skin, which is, I say skin. It's more of a, like a shiny texture, more like stone, I suppose.
Almost like onyx.
Than actual.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. She's got like cracks in between her skin that has this onyx, almost a diamond like shimmer,
Nice.
or not necessarily diamond like shimmer, but um the jewels, black diamond, something of that sort, not a bright, shiny like white diamond.
I got you. I got you. Really interesting start. And I was talking to Steven, maybe it was Thursday I was talking to him, or anytime. We've talked a lot lately. Um, my first thought when I read this and we talked that they found you as a baby, but he says that actually you were a young child.
Mm-hmm.
How old?
Yeah. Um, actually, a I didn't really put a date or age on when she was found, besides the fact that, um, assuming, with her race and, a lot of people not really knowing who these people are, where they come from, are they dangerous? Her being found in the basically in the mines and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
had to have at least been old enough to fend for herself. I think right now she's in her early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say to be able to really fend for yourself, maybe anywhere from 7 to 10, probably.
That's
I
fair.
mean, if that's what I mean, that's kind of
Yeah, it's
what you're.
at this point the way I see it, it could be any age you want it to be. It really
Mhm.
can. Um, it's no matter what it is. Of course, if you were a baby, you don't remember, but even as a young child, you don't remember a whole lot before the Gontills found you.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of foggy. It's one of the reasons things that bug you because you want to find out. If you got a blank spot in your history, you want to figure out what that is and find you kind of fill it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, that's a huge question for her, is not only where does she come from, but where does she belong, she's kind of, she got lucky being taken in by a nice family
Mm-hmm.
that, um sure, may have, paraded her around a little bit, look what I found, look at this beautiful creature kind of thing, but in the grand scheme of things could have been a whole lot worse, I suppose.
True.
Um, so, happy with her, I guess you'd call adopted family, but kind of really wants to go out and find her people, or her kin, if you will. And that doesn't necessarily mean just blood relatives that
Yeah.
she's looking for,
Yeah. Absolutely.
just the group, they grow
Well, and
after a while.
a lot of times when it's talking about adopted children in general want to find their birth parents, it has nothing to do with not being happy with their parents. It's because it's that blank spot. Um, so I
The
see.
unknown.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I see your
Yeah.
the way I see it. They your family, your mother and father, who apparently had never had children and possibly couldn't have children. It wasn't ever really talked about, but the fact I wanted to bring up was they did take you in as their own. Um, it was kind of a weird thing with your dad, but it seemed to grow on him, and your mother, your adoptive mother, um, loved you at first sight and treated you just like one of their own. Um, they never really treated you weird or strange. It just always seemed to be uh, an extension of themselves. But that didn't mean everybody did that.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, everybody wants to get a look at the as the strange child. They may not say it that way, but a lot of people were like that, especially with some of the early parties. Which, if you're nobles, you go to a lot of uh, shindigs and whatnot, and it may have started as a showing off, an oddity. A lot of people still will never get over that point where you're just, you're just a part of the freak show for them.
Sure.
And yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, tell me if I'm wrong. I've tried to do a little bit of research, but I've kind of been a little, there's a whole lot of information out there.
Yes, there is.
But with the Genasi, um, I mean, are any of them really? I mean, aren't most of them not spectacular looking or
S-
beautiful, but aren't they generally, as a race, very mixed matched and odd? Is that I think that may have been part of why she was so much of a spectacle. Do you feel like that's correct? Am I
Well,
pulling that?
I think with Genasi, they can be all along the spectrum, from the most beautiful to the most odd.
Okay, good.
Some can, and that way you have like bards and stuff who can use charisma. Um, but but I think it's the same spectrum as humans or dwarves. You'll have some that are just weird, and all the way to the most beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. We've played with Genasi in our game so long, we get to the point where we're like, oh, it's just a Genasi and a Dragonborn. It's not a big deal. We just throw these odd creatures in. We don't think too much about where they're from, how they got there. And sometimes for some players that's not an issue, and I understand that. But I like the thought process that Eileen is not just another Genasi amongst many Genasis, but she's special, and Genasis are special, which they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you picked the Gontil family, which I thought was a good choice, since they um, ended up making a lot of their money in mining, which is where they found you.
Yeah. Yes.
And you, as you grew, you took to it. You actually, when we get to the present time, which, as I was telling people earlier, we're going to start in 1507, which for D&D, Forgotten Realm, excuse me, that's a little in the future, but not very far. Just beyond where we're at in a lot of the adventures we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You said 15?
1507, yes.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I don't know how they do this. If they announce the name of the year before the year comes up, WotC, the guys who developed this, they develop years ahead of time. And for Forgotten Realms, they name every year something. And I was looking at the list, and 1507 is the year of the glowing onyx.
Sounds like the Chinese
Mm-hmm.
tradition.
Very.
Every year has the differing animal and its correlation with the year and what it's supposed to mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very, very distinctive every year. And it may be that they foresee something that they name it that way. I think it happens before, but of course, WotC creates it before. But I just kind of clutched onto that year because I wanted to go a little farther in the future, and that one just kind of stuck out to me just because of the title. I don't know if it means anything, but it could. It could mean something totally to the adventure. So we have you in Waterdeep growing up in the Gontil family and actually learning the business to your father's delight, um, and growing the business to your father's and mother's delight, of course. Um, and so the business is growing and more mines are opening, and your affinity for gems and minerals and whatnot, you've been able to be a part of that, a strong part of that, in finding new mines that will be lucrative enough to actually mine.
Hmm.
So that's where we find you in Waterdeep. The way I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I sent you this, but I was every kid grows up wanting to be a part of the in crowd.
Sure.
Yeah. And as you're growing up, you want to be a part of the elite, the high nobles. But and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think once you got into that group, you realize how superficial some of them were.
Yeah, as to say, I don't know if it's necessarily that she wanted to be in the group, but that she was more like with who her parents were. The constant parties and
Mm-hmm.
shenanigans and charades and stuff like that. Kind of just what happened and how life was and having I've got or rather Lean's got, this I think was what you're getting ready to talk about, this group of friends, which are, you know, interestingly enough, part of the elite group, but they're the complete outcasts of this elite
Y-
of these, elite
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah, I think you probably started getting in amongst the elite and sort of like being at the party. Some people were genuine and liked you, and weren't just there for the show, but some of them were for the show. Not only the older nobles, but the younger nobles. You realize that some of them just pulled you close to make themselves look better, so that the attention would come toward them. And so you felt yourself being used at times. And so you were real careful toward your later teens and into your young adulthood, choosing friends, like we all do,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Sure.
And you end up with this rat pack that, and we can add or amend anything on that list. But they are both a part of the elite, but not. They don't run with the main crowd of young nobles that you're supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to run with. They've already seen what you've seen, and they're like, um, they could totally do that, most of them, but they don't want to. And they've found within this small group people that aren't out to use them for an up in society, but just out of pure friendship and get in a little trouble. You know how kids are.
Mhm. Sure.
But we those will come into play down the road, I believe. We'll meet Levi probably at the very beginning for a brief moment. Um, the rest of them are going to be in and around Waterdeep, so they're more than likely going to show up in the story. But they are there at your disposal. If you know by the write up what their specialties were, you may have a question, or you may tap into their expertise along the game. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure I will definitely have some questions along the line. Like once I, run into something with either their families or I'm assuming really more accurately it's gonna be during kind of gameplay, trying to feel them out. I did read everything here. And everything sounds great. I don't think that there would be anything at all that I would change. Not unless something like I said, get in the middle of gameplay, just like kind of randomly came up that just seemed to make sense.
Yeah, yeah. They're everything's fluid. If we get into gameplay and we want to amend anything, everything's fluid in that area. This is just NPCs, so it's not something in concrete yet. I did add. So I was thinking about your family. Um, your mother and father, who are the heads of the Gontils, don't have any other children and didn't have any prospects until you appeared.
No heirs, no nothing.
No, no, they did. Apparently, nothing's ever said, but the whispers in the backgrounds are that they couldn't have kids. It just wasn't going to happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just weren't blessed that direction. But there are a lot of your father has a handful of brothers, and of course they have children. And until you came along, a lot of the nephews were in line to run the family once your father, passed away. And now, because number one, you were legally adopted, they went through the process of making you their heir. I guess I should say it that way. So you are legally their heir, and you will take over the family name at the end, especially since you have contributed so much to the Gauntell's business. But there are a handful of nephews that you've come to know that they're not terribly happy with you being there.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of lower ones, but they all kind of pull in behind the eldest son of one of your father's brothers, your father's brother, Oswego Gontiel. His eldest, uh, see if I get this right. I may rethink this name because it may be hard to say. Luego Toribio, and he's taken over the last name Agandar because he merged his just like your family had a little bit of mercenary. Well, how did it say? Was it mercenary background? One of the things they did earlier in life, I believe, because they don't do that much now. Hang on a second. Where is the Godtails? There it is. There were three things. Yeah, known for their mercenary nature, uh, entertaining, earning notoriety in fighting and exploring, and then they also gained their fortune in mining and trading. I think the mercenary part was your father was involved maybe early in life, but kind of backed off when he started um, trading, and then of course segued into mining and
Mm-hmm.
went big into mining when you started to pick up the business. A lot of the other families in the Gontill, the brothers, are heavier into mercenary groups, uh, which is one way nobles can make money is to put money into a mercenary group and hire them out. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Luego, um, the eldest son of your father's brother, and probably
What is the name again?
uh,
Is it? It almost sounds a little more Spanish to me. Like maybe what did you say again?
I said
A
Luego.
Luejo?
Yeah, I said that first because Phil or Jesse came in here and said that to me.
Uh-huh.
It's still in
Totally.
works. Luejo is what I have.
Yeah.
And we'll work on that name. But basically the eldest son of your uncle Lozego, so the
Mhm.
Lozego, is heavy into mercenary groups and married into another family, the Agandar family, who's also heavily into mercenary groups, and they merged his father's company with theirs and made it bigger and stronger, um, called the Lightning Strikes. And it's not any secret. He hopes that his success with this new founded mercenary company will give him a foot up on you and possibly get him the head of the Gontill family someday, restore his last name.
Mhm.
But good luck to that.
Good luck.
Good luck. I just wanted to let you know that there's all sorts of competition, but within your own family, this guy has it out for you. I'll just say it like that.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, we all have our villains. That's the way it goes. Let's see. Oh, now go back to up here. Just wanted to mention that. Now, in the process of trying to find yourself and trying to find more about Genasi, where they come from,
Mm-hmm.
possibly how to unify them in some way. You took several avenues. You went to the temple of Selene, the Moon Maiden, and an elven.
I'm sorry. Wait. Yes, yes. The cleric Elysian.
Yes,
Yeah.
the elven cleric Elysian. How do you spell the last name? Say it. Beican.
It looked like to me. I was saying Beacon.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Better than bacon, right?
Yeah.
The bacon sounds really good. Um, but after a while, a vision came. If the way I read this right, the vision came to the cleric, and you later find out that it was sent to you through this cleric by an entity of elemental earth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, the vision of the earth moving violently and cracking open. As the dirt fell into the opening, the darkness began to grow. You saw 9 gems shining in the void. There was a stillness for a moment, and then, as if coming from the earth itself, she heard one word, the word Prosker,
Yep. Prosker.
which can only mean
Mhm.
one thing. There is no room for translation at all, because
Where we're going.
the only place
Yeah.
that word ever shows up, and you were kind of hoping there was something deeper, but no, it's just the town name in Coromir. So that's the first thing. You've got this one word, um, and it's threatening. The earth was threatening to swallow these precious gems. Of course, the cleric told you the vision, and then you got. Go
Is
ahead.
it like 8 different gems, right?
Yeah,
Was that significant? To hear it in my
yeah.
notes.
That's great. No, that's
Is it 7 or 8? Yeah, something like that.
9's good. You have
9.
9. 9's good.
Gotcha.
It's significant.
Okay.
And then you further, because you took cues from the prompts of the Earth Genasi. You're slow to jump on things, and you're thoughtful. You meditate on things before you run into things, which your father appreciates a great deal. He can see the thoughtful moves in business that have saved you a lot of missteps along the way. But so you took a little longer, instead of just jumping on it and running off. You did a little more meditation on it, and you got confirmation from a feminine voice that told you, yeah, that was from this entity. I'm still working on it.
On what?
Your patron name and whatnot. It's easy enough to say that your patron is a powerful entity of elemental earth, obviously, and connected to a lot of maybe I should leave some things. You know, Genasi are connected both to the elements and to the exotic power of the jinn, the genies of faraway lands, even down south from where you live now. There are kingdoms that began because they were created by the jinn and the Dao and whatnot. That will come into play down the road too, obviously. But anyway, your patron is a Dio, a powerful genie of elemental earth. And as you said, I think you said it in here, they're all about acquisition and power. Most genies are, but especially the Dio, because they
Is it Dio?
It's DAO, however you pronounce it. I think Jesse was pronouncing it
Ew.
Do. I don't know. I have to
Yeah, I don't know. I
maybe
just
let's look and see what they.
whatever I say in my head, it's pretty much what it is until somebody says
Yeah, I'm
otherwise.
sorry. I don't. I say it how I see it. DAO.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
that's what it says in the actual write up, pronounced Dao. So we'll go
Oh,
with
cool. Okay.
so we'll say Dao. Sometimes child of my generation, we hooked on phonics worked for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, the Daos, genies of elemental earth, and it still doesn't tell you a whole lot, but it really causes more questions than answers at this point. But
But it's also very, very old, very ancient, um, kind of. Uh, I don't. Well, I'm trying to look for the right word here. It's not necessarily the specific deity. It's the genies
mhm.
in general. Um, yeah, never mind. If I think of the
It's okay.
how to put it, I'll ask here in a
Don't
second.
worry. I'm clamoring for things too here. What am I looking for? I am looking for. I just pulled a book up. What's it called? Lands of Intrigue. Let's see if there's anything in that for us to.
And where?
I just pulled a book up earlier. Old second edition D&D. I think it's how you spell it. There it is. Lands of Intrigue. Come on. Yeah. They call them the Lands of Intrigue. A lot of the countries down south of you were called this. Um, get it big where I can read it. Tether, and Kalamashan, I believe, the three countries to the far south that um, if you have to go through one or the other all the way down to the coast, the southern coast.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see if there's a introduction.
Would you say tether and what?
Kalamshan.
Alan.
Yeah,
Okay.
see it written here. Um, I mentioned that because uh, it it's in three parts, of course. This is the tether part, which is south of where well, anyway, is one of the oldest settled lands in the face of Faerun, though few today remember it as such. When one speaks of tether, anyone born in this century thinks only of a land rife with political intrigue, civil unrest, prejudice against demihumans, and assassination. What was one of the noblest human countries reduced itself to a lawless land. Okay, see if it. Hang on. There's a lot of information here, but it's not getting to what I wanted to get to. The point is that the history goes back and touches. In fact, there are stories of places down there that are connected to portals to elemental kingdoms. I mean, totally got your attention when you start digging through anything about Genasi, which you segue into genie, elemental and genie, and it all points down. Hang on a second. Go back up to the table of contents. Probably would have helped me a lot better, Ward. History, tether of ancient past. Let's see what it says there. This is the middle country of the three. I don't know why they started with the one in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What? All right. Are you not going to work with me? Oh, I know what it is. Okay. I hate it when the PDF page doesn't go along with the actual page. Throws me off.
Oh yeah, when the numbers are different.
Yeah, I've got to watch
Oh
the
yeah.
page numbers. There we go.
Gosh, it's driven me nuts for like ever. So I was always trying to like find something for college,
Yeah.
like on the book, because I didn't want to actually pay for the book.
Yeah.
You know, or you'd rent it from like somewhere. I forget what the place was called that I rented a couple of books from, but like,
Let's see. More than 15,000 years ago. It's a long time. The lands known as Tether, Urlaxar, and Kalimshan were forested as far as the eye could see. Two races of beings, giants and elves, dominated the forest. All right, let me see if it's going to get to what I want to get to. It's going to defy me and not say anything about what I want to say about. Well, the point is, those three kingdoms south of the Sword Coast are riddled with old tales of ancient powers, and also, of course, connected to the Jinn, of all sorts of powers. The noble Ifrit, the fire genies, and then, of course, the Dao and the Jan, and excuse me. So there might be something there in the long run for you to find out more about yourself. That's just a kind of.
will you repeat the three one more time?
Sure.
And the last one. I'm not under. I hear you, but I'm not understanding like how to spell that.
That's fine. Yeah, I should do this because this is important to you. Hang on.
You're fine.
All right, I am going to read them off right here. The northern kingdom, which is right off the Sword Coast, is Amn. That's the easy one. And then south of that is Tether, Tethyr. I may be mispronouncing these, like I did Dao. The other one is Kalimshan, which is actually spelled out. Sounds Calimshan. Kalimshan.
And that is on the east or west side.
The Kalimshan's on the total south side. It's still on the coast. It's not yeah.
Tetcher is on the south.
Yeah, okay. So it would go Tether, Kalimshan if you went south. Once you left what was known as the Sword Coast. Here, where's my map? There we go. Let's do this. All right. Are you watching the stream? And you pull it up and mute it, and then I'll point this out to you. It might be a lot more help. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's the fourth one. Huh. Okay. I don't think much. I don't hear much about that.
I think about muting them.
I understand.
Muting the stream because I'm always on my tablet, so I get like one thing,
Yeah.
or maybe two.
Yeah, you're kind of limited. I understand that.
I know. When I come to the computer, and it's been like so long since I've actually been on the computer because my kids take it over. And
Yeah, I
my
know.
husband, and I'm like, I used to be the best at like computers and like figuring stuff out, and I'm like, where's the X button? How do I turn it off?
I hear you. Yeah, it's old stuff to us because we're always messing with it. I do.
Of course, there's also of course, there's also like the setup stuff for the podcast, the stream, and then
if you just pull up YouTube, yeah, just pull up the stream.
Oh yeah.
Just pull straight up YouTube and look up the Magic Tavern. It may be on your left when you bring it up as a part of your favorites.
Yeah, I've made this desk a complete mess.
I've
got paints and like all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
I was gonna say I've got about 100 tabs going right now, so I understand a mess, but that's a different That's a different kind of mess.
I can deal with 100 tabs.
Yeah, I can too.
Ask Steven.
I mean, I'm studying Genasi and Dao. I'm
Mhm.
studying giant runes. I'm studying ancient history, like this.
Yeah.
But I'm studying it all over. It's like I'm getting a crash course in at least the Sword Coast and the Heartlands, and a little bit beyond. As if you see, once you see the screen, what I've got on the screen for the stream, you'll see how big Faerun is.
Yeah.
It's a huge mess, you know. See up here, that's Icewind Dale, that little piece right there.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
we were just talking about this earlier. I actually just had a probably about an hour ago.
it's all good.
Mhm.
All right, okay, so we'll just go down the way here. That's Neverwinter. Waterdeep is here on the Sword Coast. Goes down to Baldur's Gate's down south of that. If you keep going down the coast, hang on. Once you get past Baldur's Gate, you're going out of the Sword Coast. It's not considered that. You're still on the coast, but now there's That's the first one you come to that I was talking about. So that's there,
Mhm.
and then you'll pass into Tether, which is
I'm sorry, that's where I didn't actually see I looked up and I didn't see
okay.
your pointer.
All right, Tether, Kalimshan.
Gotcha.
And this is the fourth one they mentioned, which is part of the Lands of Intrigue, but I haven't read a lot about it. Erlakazar. You can write that down too. That's a possible place you'll end up. So those are the four lands of intrigue, they call them. And I know. Wait, let me try something here. Boom. No, that's not what I. Okay, so they don't even mention Dio in here.
You
How
say
about
four lands of what?
intrigue?
Oh, intrigue. I thought you said entry. Okay.
No, that's good. Um, hang on, Genie. She's going to defy me. Scattered remnants of the former glory, Minomar and Kalim Caliphate were left at war's end with no ruling genies. How can there only be 7 mentions when it's like this whole thing is like talking about the genie wars? There's all sorts of fun stuff that went on down there that's connected to the genies at least. Um, but the shoot, I did it again. The
Hmm.
Dao, there we go. Let's make it simple, Ward. Uh, the Dao it says they're generally evil beings. That doesn't mean anything because
Sure.
they're a greedy sort. It's sort of like the same thing they talk about dwarves. You know, dwarves because they do a lot of mining and they're down amongst the gems. They can be a bit on the greedy side. Doesn't mean all of them are. So same with
Sure.
the Tao. Although they do see nothing wrong in enslaving others.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and that's one of the things we'll have to deal with. And I may have to do a disclaimer at the beginning. We're not going to do a lot about slavery. Don't worry. But uh,
Hmm.
the world has it in it. Unfortunately, there are some countries that still allow it. Uh,
Sure.
it's probably being weeded out more than it was before, but still, there are evil empires still afoot. Let's see. Of all the genie races, the Tao were considered to be the most industrious. They spent much of their time in the pursuit of mining, shaping, and digging. And if it was these pursuits that made slavery so common in their society, there's another mention of that. We're not going to lean heavily upon that. Uh, Homelands. Genies literally carved out an empire from the elemental plane of Earth called the Great Dismal Delve. They were ruled from their capital city of the sevenfold maze work by their great Khan. And I'm not going to tell you that whole name. It's the Great Khan. he's he's like a lot of Arabic names. It's like a mile long.
Yeah.
Beyond the elemental plane of Earth, Dao could be found living in great numbers in some of the quasi-elemental planes, of course, which you will probably find out about. Beyond those planes, Dao could be found roaming with magical protection across all the inner planes, as well as astral ethereal planes. Sometimes a lone Dao could be found on the prime material plane, which is, of course, where you live, hoping to open up new markets and supply lines for their empires. And that's the bottom line there. That's one of the main things that if there's a Dao involved in your world enough to be your patron, then that's probably one of the main things they have in their head. Where'd it go? Hoping to open up new markets and supply lines for their empires. They're looking for more veins of ore, gems, and the sort. Anything that'll gain them power is a good thing. And the Dao are very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very competitive. And you're judged by how big your kingdom is. And so the Dao will be very, very competitive against each other. We'll just say that. Leave it at that.
Sure.
Let's see. When on that plane, they prefer to be in a mountainous terrain, of course. While mortal cities made them feel uneasy. Yeah, that makes sense too. Much like their home plans, some Dao ran gem mining operations on the material plane. That's what your patron has been kind of hinting at. Your ability to smell out a rich vein of ore has really got its attention. And you could tell, well, he's not doing this out of charity totally, you know what I'm saying? Or she's not doing this out of charity. It's a business thing, and you're kind of used to that. You've been involved in a lot of things that were just business. There's no charity in Waterdeep either.
Yeah.
You've had to fight, scrape for everything you've got, and you know how to do that, and you understand that, and you kind of feel the same vibes off your patron.
Is that much more specific to when he said he's very interested in knowledge or expertise, if you will? Are we talking about just knowing different stones and having just that kind of knowledge, or were you insinuating something else that he was more particularly could be interested in?
Well, very
It
specific.
seems.
Yeah, I don't want to be
Go ahead.
vague. I don't want to leave it vague with you. The unnamed she that keeps talking to you is definitely interested in your knowledge and your ability to sniff out veins of rich ore. It's like everyone you found for your father has not been just a vein of ore. It's been one of the richest people have seen in decades. You know, you find them where other people can't. And so that's it's giving your father's company a leg up on the competition all over. And that's,
Which doesn't, I'm assuming, as an adopted child or someone found, to have that kind of affinity for, like what the family does, and being such an asset, would kind of also be one of the leading factors into why she leaves, because it's not like they didn't, like we were talking about earlier, they didn't have any heirs and this and that. It's not that they didn't really have, anything to pass the business onto, but I suppose for her kind of maybe feel like, I was only here for spectacle and
Yeah,
finding.
they've tried, and
So,
and your father teeters on that, but he always reels it back in. He realizes, especially when you were younger, he realizes, wait a minute, this is a child, or this is a young teenager, or even a young adult. Um, Sometimes he forgets himself, but he always brings it back and is like,
okay.
and cares about you.
That's
You know, yeah, it
nice.
is. Your mother dotes on you like, you, like I said, you were one of her own. Your father gets caught up in the business. Of course, he's excited. All these veins you're opening up, all these different mining
Mhm.
expansions, and then he has to catch himself and realize he's talking to his daughter, even though adopted. Um, it's part of his life, and he has to stop and be father sometimes, and not business manager.
Sure.
It's hard for him, but he does. Um, but you also, it's sort of like a father son uh, bonding over baseball. Okay, they can talk baseball when they can't talk anything else. It's a little
Yeah. Yeah.
different now, but whatever it is, put whatever it is in there. They can
Sure.
bond over that when they can't.
Yeah.
He has a hard time talking about normal stuff and feelings and stuff, but he can talk about the mind all day. And you and him connect on that.
Especially if it comes so naturally, like,
Hmm.
it's almost like um the uh the fallback or the go-to,
Hmm.
even if supposing um like you said, like the family is more um caring and very respective and happy about, or well, maybe not happy about me going about my own way, but
Yeah,
child's gotta learn.
you taking off will make some happy, and of course doesn't mean you're not going to come back. It just, there's some that may hope, like what's his name, um, like that one gentleman I mentioned that would probably be, maybe she won't come back. Maybe she'll be happy where she's at, and I can do what I want to do. But yeah, good luck with that.
Who was it? I
Uh,
forgot.
yeah, it's
I'm sorry.
okay. I've got it right here. I'll send it to you again. I put it on the end of your
I
sheet,
probably
like
wrote it down. I just
uh, Luejo,
uh
Luejo Taribio Agundar. He's married into the Agundar family,
oh
and his,
yeah, Levi.
oh,
Oh
Levi.
no no
No,
no no no.
that's,
Oh sorry.
no. You like Levi. Levi um, treats you with more respect than most.
Which one'd you say?
Luijo, Luejo. Um,
I don't have that.
I know. I'm going to send it to you. I just added it
Oh,
today.
oh, okay.
I will send
Oh,
it, and whatever else that I add to it, I'll send it all again, and you'll have that.
oh,
Sorry.
that's fine. That makes more sense. I was like,
Yeah,
um,
I didn't think about what I said.
hmm,
Um, but yeah, Alien's got a lot to figure out. I mean, who she is, what she wants to be, um, where she fits in, not only a water deep, but the world around her, and maybe even the cosmos, the planes, even, because these creatures, these genie creatures, are creatures of other planes, even. So and there are other planes of elemental power. It's all connected, and it's it, it's all really overwhelming at times, maybe, especially when your dad keeps pushing the expansion, um, and maybe it just got a little too much. He didn't realize he pushed so hard, and when you came to him saying that you were going to take a break and go on this trip, um, at first he wasn't happy, but then he's like, no, if it's something you need to do, you need to go do it. I mean, he doesn't understand, but he does. Um, And when Levi finds out you're wanting to go to Prosker, surprise, surprise, he's headed that way anyway. And so he invites you. He says you'll have your own, I say car. It's a own wagon, luxury all the way. You'll be left to yourself. Of course, I will be on the train, but you'll have your own. He made very clear. But he can get you there. He can make sure traveling with the caravan's much safer than any other travel, and we can get you there quickly and safely, and then from there you do what you need to do, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Levi is one of the characters that kind of jumped out when I started seeing the vignettes, that the beginning vignettes. He kind of jumped out. He's kind of a bard of sorts. He's got the charisma. He's charming. He's great at telling stories, even sing a song every once in a while, and you feel like he could have the pick of about any girl in Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he's sweet on you. You've told him several times, I feel, and you can tell me how you feel about that, but I feel you probably held him a little bit at arm's length for right now. Just keep him as a close friend, because I think you've got too much going on. You're really not ready to think about that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, that's cool, but
Oh yeah.
and he's been good about respecting boundaries. But he's still, he's still very visible, and this is just another way for him to stay close. But not too close. Respectfully close, let's say. He's not a creeper.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like him. The others have come along recently. But yeah, I think they can all be useful in their own way down the road. That should be interesting. All right, see if there's anything I need to ask. Yeah, any of the videos, I told Steven, any of the videos that you can just Google Waterdeep. If you Google Waterdeep D&D, you can read it, any of this, but just definitely go to the videos, and you'll find, oh, that's not a video, that's Introduction to Waterdeep. Don't get into any of the Dragon Heist stuff. That's an actual adventure. Forgotten Realms lore, Waterdeep, history of Waterdeep. Running, that's running. You don't even know how to run the game. Waterdeep, that's ambiance. Nope. That's interesting. Almost 3 hours of ambiance music for Waterdeep in summer. That's interesting. Welcome to Waterdeep, Introduction to the City of Splendors. There's lots of great videos. I guess the way to really do that is to go to YouTube. But yeah, just put in Waterdeep and roll with it from there. If you have a question about any of the videos, if it's something you should watch, you just message me and I'll tell you if it's something that you don't need to know.
Okay. Yeah, just sometimes I'm really not on Messenger a ton right now.
Yeah.
Just because there's just not much need to be. Not, I say not many people use it. Everybody uses it, but nobody that I talk to uses it.
That's cool.
But
yeah, however,
if you will send me a message or something and let me know when you send those videos, I will make sure and watch them.
I'll do that here in just a little bit. When I get done, I'll just send you 4 or 5 that I know that would help you. Just kind of get you, yeah, that's fine. There's plenty of time to do that. And then if you have any questions, we can elaborate. Um, trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I haven't started character creation. Of course, you're going Warlock. We already talked about that several times,
Mm-hmm.
and that's an interesting. That's going to be an interesting because it's not one of the go tos. It's one of the newer ones. So that's probably why it's not one of the go tos yet. But I feel like any of the subclasses can be made interesting and lend to the story. The story's the thing, man. The story's going to be something else.
Well, I mean, anything you can give is gonna lend to the story. I mean, it doesn't really matter which type of character it is, or which class. You know, they
Absolutely.
always they always add their um kind of like their own flair. You never know.
Exactly.
Always makes things interesting and a little different.
And the way we've always done it is we're doing a little bit different now because I have an overall view of what's going on in the world and some of the major players. Don't get me wrong, but I don't always know what's coming next. In like the Asheray storylines, sometimes I don't
Mm-hmm.
know until you guys finish what you're doing where you're going next. And that's basically sandbox. You know, you get out, you do what you want to do, what you think's
Mm-hmm.
important. Um,
Sure.
and this one, I've had to be a little more deliberate, and I'm having to pull all this massive amount of information and try to put it in a flow chart. It may not go perfectly like that, but at least I'll have it together, and it won't seem like it's everywhere. It'll be so since we're streaming, we want to be a little more organized than we are when we're just running our home worlds.
Sure.
But yeah, we're gonna see what
Um,
definitely gonna get back to Waterdeep. Um, More than likely gonna go to maybe the other two. Who knows? It's all kind of what we find that we need, the information we need to find out. And
mm,
there's so many, there's so many little tidbits all over the place in all the different little countries, um, and it's all of it's cool. I'll just say that is all of it's cool, and it's like you want to do that. That'd be a great story. It's like, well, you gotta have to calm down because it's not a part of this story.
mhm.
But anyway, you have any other questions?
Um, right now, I do not.
That's cool.
Um, if I do, I'll hit you up probably
It's
either
fine.
tomorrow or sometime this week. Um,
That's
I
absolutely
might talk
fine.
with Steven about it some too.
Yeah, that's not.
Um, because I know I've missed like a couple like the last like podcasts. So
Mm,
just kind of get a little introduced into like who else here.
sure,
Um, so yeah, definitely. If I have any questions, I will call you or text you.
that's cool. Yeah, I'm always available. Just like you, I may not see it immediately, but I'll get to it. Um, Also, you probably haven't seen. Well, you probably have seen a lot of action on the Sword Coast. You probably traveled up and down the Sword Coast, but you're going to find some new places that Aileen's not even been to yet. So it's going to be exploring. It's going to be discovery, not only above ground but some below ground. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be really cool. So, but I thank you for being involved with it. You've come a long way with us because you jump in with this crazy bunch that grew up role playing, and I remember sitting with Steven when he was in high school role playing. Him talking to the different characters just out of the blue, and Jesse still does that to me, and I have to stop him in this game. Like, not going to get into role playing with you yet. You're going to have to calm it down and
Yeah.
wait for the deal. But we still talk character. Um, and I can talk anytime with you. Just let me know, and we'll work it out, whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
All right, man.
Well, thank you so much
Uh,
for talking with me tonight and fleshing
oh,
some stuff out.
Oh, thank you. And I'd
I
probably.
think this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be great. And it's probably got more questions and answers, but that's the way this game runs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, everybody, that's all I've got tonight. I'll get back to the elf later. I want to think about him. I think, like I said, between inquisitive or mastermind, I'm not sure which it is, but we'll talk about it later. There's time to put this elf together. Once I have it together, I'll definitely drop that here. We will be back next Tuesday with more content on the Uncut Gems upcoming game, which will start sometime in August. Honest. Thursday, we'll be back into Magic the Gathering over on Arena, Thursday at 8. And we're working toward getting our podcast back on. There's a lot of information flying around about not only D&D sets coming out, but new sets coming out for Magic. So it's an exciting time as always. So until it's going to be. We're still having a little bit of trouble with Facebook, so bear with us. Zuckerberg's being fun. But
Zuckerberg.
yeah, Zuckerberg. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. But watch here. Go to our blog over on themagictavern.org. We got lots of articles about character builds and things to put in your story from old forgotten lore. That's what I like more than all, and you guys are going to be really running into a lot of that. So if you start looking for the things we do in the 5e books, guys, not all of it's going to be there. But anyway, yeah, really, that's what I like about it. So much stuff. Until Thursday, thank you again, Lexi, and we will be back Thursday with Magic the Gathering. Until then, you guys find a game to play. Get out and find a group. Play some D&D, for goodness sakes. It'll do you good.
Do you a lot of good.
All right. See y'all. Yeah. Y'all take care. See you later.
See you later.